Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. We're live today. It's Friday, December the 29th, and looking forward to our show today. A lot of things to discuss. Namely, we'll be looking at three NFL games, and I am always on a Friday for our live show, joined by Mr. Jesse Schule and Mr. Sean Higgs, and all three of us from our sponsor site, which is gamblersworld.net. Sean, how are you, my man?
I am good. Shaved up for the show today. Happy Friday. Get ready to come in, fire away. Have a good day. Have a good weekend. My
I'm
nice
looking
little roll. I
forward
think
to
I'm
it.
10-3 the last couple days. So
Yeah, you guys killed it
excited.
yesterday, and I really crapped a bed yesterday. So I haven't had a bad day like that in quite a long time, but it happens. And Jesse, you had a nice day as well, like Sean. And how you doing, my friend?
Yeah, this whole betting bowl games is easy these days. I think that makes it three in a row. Feel quite fortunate. Back in the positive with the bowls and college hoops. College hoops. So like I said, Ross, I'm coming for you. You're still number one, but don't get too comfortable over there.
Yeah, well, I got two picks going tonight. I haven't made a pick in a few days in college basketball, so you'll have your opportunity. And I know that, like I said, folks, I had a bad day yesterday. I'm going to turn things around the rest of the week. That's why we're pros. We're resilient. We don't let the day before affect us, our performance going forward, and we don't let bad runs affect us because we win over the long haul. All right, here's what we're going to do today, folks. And again, we encourage your comments and questions throughout the course of the show. But we're going to start the show with all three of our free picks. Jesse will be looking at the game between the Colts and the Vegas Raiders. I'm going to be looking at the Rams and the Giants, and Sean will be looking at an intriguing matchup with playoff implications. There's no two ways about it between the Chiefs and the Bengals. And before we get to that, just a friendly reminder, folks, that again, our sponsor site is gamblersworld.net. You'll find us three there, along with 7 other great handicappers, and we guarantee our picks. So all single game, multi-game daily packages, as well as subscription plans of 30 days or fewer are all guaranteed that if you don't win, you don't make a profit, we will credit your account back the exact amount that you spent on that specific purchase. All right, let's get right to the game. Sean, I'm interested in this game. The Chiefs and the Bengals. The Chiefs are a 6.5-point favorite right now, and they're reeling a bit. And the Bengals, after looking like they turned things around, got it handed to them last week at Pittsburgh. 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time kickoff. The Chiefs right now are a 6.5-point favorite. What do you got, my friend?
Yeah, since he's won 3 of the last 4 of these matchups, good stuff. But it's a different. Last year's lost championship game. Different team though. We got no quarterback here for Cincy. We got a backup QB. It's a totally different Mahomes. We got like 15 interceptions here. I'm gonna say, let's not play games here. I'm taking the Chiefs in a must-win kind of game, and I do it knowing that they haven't been scoring. Right, the offense is down. I don't think they've topped 21 points in 6 of the last 8. So last 2 months they're not scoring points. The Bengal defense, though, is their Achilles. And we talked about this yesterday with Jake Browning, or we're talking about Mason Rudolph, where, all right, quarterback comes in, it looks pretty good, you get a little bump, and then reality sets in of who the guy really is. And the defense alone for Cincy, I think, is the backbreaker here. Even if Chase plays, I hate using like cliche time with the old circle the wagon type stuff, but give me Kansas City and really a must-win game for them. I mean, Mahomes is going crazy. He's upset over the way things are going. I don't know, man. I got faith in Andy Reid to straighten things out here. Embarrassed on Christmas. Totally embarrassed. 6 completions. Did he lose a game? Nah, I just gotta think that Andy Reid's got a little something up his sleeve here at home with the season on the line. I mean, yeah, maybe a stretch of words there, but this is a 9-win team that has not looked good. Win here. The Raiders could still win this division. Yeah, Kansas City, you better win this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's far-fetched the Raiders winning the division, even though they're mathematically alive and they beat Kansas City. I agree with you. I don't think their season is
The way
on the
Kansas
line.
City's
But
offense going, though, would you be shocked
yeah,
if they
no,
lost
I
you?
hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, Sean. I mean, bottom line is they haven't looked good. You know, they're 9-6 right now. They're out of contention for the number 1 seed, which I can't remember the last time. It's been a few years since Kansas City went into the final 2 weeks of the regular season, Jesse, without an opportunity to sew up a number 1 seed. And this is a Kansas City team, and Sean just pointed that out. They're a -10 turnover differential over their last 8 games. It's very difficult to win that way. It's very difficult to sustain drives that way. And it's, it's a recipe for failure, Jesse. So what do you got in terms of your opinions on this contest?
Well, Ninja says that they're in a must-win situation because they suck, but I'm looking at it, and they held their opponent to 205 total yards of offense last week. Well, that doesn't suck. The opposing quarterback throws for 62 yards, no touchdowns. Well, that doesn't suck. They had some bad luck last week, and the recipe for getting over when you've got a struggling offense, the recipe to solve that issue is to face a struggling defense, and they get that here in the Bengals. Only the Commanders have allowed more total yards than the Bengals this season. So this looks like a get-right game, and it looks like a perfect situation for it, facing a defense that they can't cover a wall with a gallon of paint, I believe is the expression that we use on this show. So that's what I have to say about that.
All right. So Jesse, I guess, is leaning toward Kansas City as well. And Sean's official pick is Kansas City -6.5. I like the other side, folks. I just, when I see teams starting to spiral a little bit down the stretch, even with the track history of Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and how they're resilient and how they seem to rise to the top when backed into a corner, I just think this is too heavy a number to be laying against a team like Cincinnati, who, yes, they have their defensive deficiencies, and I get that. But you still have to be able to expose those defensive deficiency on the other side of the ball, which is Kansas City's offense. And right now, the way Kansas City's offense has looked, there's nobody on the outside that really scares you in terms of stretching the field. Travis Kelce is looks like he's on the downside of his career. I don't want to jump to conclusions there, but based on the last few weeks, he just hasn't looked like that dominating force he's been in years past. But in his defense, guys, he also doesn't have that surrounding cast of wide receivers that opens up the field for him, and teams are able to double him more now. So there's a lot that goes into this. I will say Kansas City's defense still good. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. The Raiders won that game 20-14, and they scored 2 touchdowns on defense last week, if I recall correctly. So it's not like Kansas City's defense has been the issue. So yeah, I am going to go against my 2 cohorts here. I'm going to take the Bengals plus 6.5. And I could tell you this is my top play on the Mark Lawrence's Wise Guy contest, which right now, 47 guys, folks, going down to the last 2 weeks. I am engulfed in a 3-way tie with lots of money on the line. Anyway, all right, let's get to the next game at hand, and it'll be Jesse's game. And he's going to be taking a look at the game between speaking of the devil, the Las Vegas Raiders. All of a sudden, they're 7-8. The interim coaching staff's done a great job, and they're traveling to Indianapolis to take on the Colts. The Colts right now are 3-5. The Colts desperately need this game to hang on to their playoff hopes. I would go out on a limb and say I don't know all the mathematics, but I would say that if Indy loses this game, they're out. Realistically, anyway. But Jesse, the Colts laying that hook that Sean says, don't let it affect you. And you say, I'll take the half a point anytime I can get it. But that doesn't necessarily mean you always take the 3.5.
No. And motivation's a big key here, Ross. you mentioned the Raiders not technically out of it, but realistically out of it, I believe. And yeah, it's a must-win game for the Colts. But I think it's a big letdown spot for the Raiders. We already talked about how they won against the Chiefs last week. They were outgained by over 100 yards. They only gained 205 total yards of offense. Aiden O'Connell, 62 yards, 9 of 21 passing. Not a great game by him by any stretch of the imagination. You look at his home away splits on the road in 4 starts. He's thrown for 646 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 picks, 58% passing, and he's only averaging 5.7 yards per attempt. Significantly better at home, not as good on the road. They get that sort of fortunate win at Kansas City. They're still not really in the playoff hunt, in my opinion, and I think they're due for a letdown against a Colts team that plays better at home. Gardner Minshew plays fairly well at home, and they got Jonathan Taylor back. Jonathan Taylor missed, I think, 3 games, comes back last week, carries a pretty significant workload, scores a touchdown. We still haven't seen the best of Jonathan Taylor so far this season. But keep in mind, this is a guy in 2021 that ran for over 1,800 yards, scored 18 touchdowns, was in the MVP conversation. He's struggled to be healthy. I think he's healthy coming into this matchup. The backup running back, Zach Moss, is not healthy, so we're expecting Taylor to have a heavy workload. I like the Colts to cover the 3.5, and I like Jonathan Taylor to get in the end zone and score a touchdown in this game at a cost of -140 at Bet365.
Yeah, I mean, for a while there, Indianapolis was much better on the road than at home. They're 3-4 at home, but I think they won their last 2 on their home field. But to Jesse's point, they're playing much better, at least right now at home, than they are on the road. And urgency and desperation certainly lies with Indianapolis. And the Raiders are just throwing caution into the wind, Sean. They're playing loose. But, again, I wouldn't get carried away from what we saw last week, and they went over Kansas City. I mean, they scored twice on defense. Again, I know they at least scored once, and if that's not correct, please correct me, folks. The Las Vegas Raiders on the road this year, 2-5, averaging a mere 14.7 points per game and 236.9 yards of total offense, Sean. That's just anemic numbers. But you know what? It's not like they're going against a top-notch defense either.
Yeah, so you mentioned the touchdowns there for Raiders defense. 5 defensive touchdowns on the year, which is kind of good stuff. But that's also some luck involved there, and expect that to carry over, especially on the road. You have a Colts team hot, winners, 5 of 7 for them. And as we said, right, you beat Kansas City. Short week, let down, you played like garbage. The week before that, you dropped a 63 spot on a team, on another rival in division. I'm 3.5. I'm taking the Colts here. 8-7, loaded up here in the South. They need their wins. Nice turnaround for Pierce, right? What are they? I think they're 4-3 under him, and some nice wins. I think 3 weeks ago they lost 3-0. Didn't they lose 3-0 in the game?
Yes,
they lost 3-0
yes.
at home, folks. So
At
as
home
much
to
as I said they could
Minnesota.
still win the division, they lost 3-0. So I'm on the Colts. I see Ninja says that the Chiefs lost to a rookie quarterback. They stink. Well, San Francisco lost to P.J. Walker, an XFL guy, and the Ravens lost to Kenny Pickett. How good's that guy? So apparently nobody's a good team. Nobody's a good team. There are no good teams. Super Bowl's canceled this year.
And, unlike college football, the NFL is week to week a whole different entity, okay? And I think the major flaw that a lot of people have when betting the NFL is they have a short memory. And, you can't do that, folks. You got to look ahead. You got to look behind. You got to look at the whole body of work. And you also got to look at teams coming off an emotional letdown. And that was brought up. I can't remember if it was Sean or Jesse that brought it up. You're coming off a win against the defending world champions on the road and your bitter rival. at Kansas City. So, I mean, 205 yards of total offense, like Jesse said, in that win, that's terrible. But I am going to agree with you two gentlemen. I think that too much sides with the Indianapolis Colts in this situation. They could ill afford to lose a winnable game like this one. And I think they win, and they win decisively here, and give themselves a shot going into week 18 in their home game against Houston for a chance to at least secure a wild card, if not win an AFC South title, depending on how Houston and Jacksonville fare this week. So a lot on the line here for the Indianapolis Colts. And Jesse likes Indianapolis is our official pick, -3.5. Me and Sean agree with him. Jesse also likes an anytime touchdown by Jonathan Taylor at moneyline odds of -140. There you have it, folks. Now I'm going to get to my game, and I'm going to make this as brief and quick as possible, because when I assign games this week, I assigned myself this game because I didn't want these guys to have to try to break down a Giants game. And the reason why I did assign this game is because two big markets, Los Angeles and New York, and our numbers on our back end show that a lot of our viewers come from that direct area or surrounding area. So
I'm shocked.
Rams
People
are
in New York, New Jersey area. Who knew?
Yeah. You know, they actually watch us, especially you. They know you're from Jersey originally.
Yes.
So, and Bovey's originally from Jersey.
Taylor ham,
Paul's
folks. North Jersey, Taylor ham. No filthy pork roll from the South. It's Taylor ham.
Yeah, right. There you go. Paul Bovey, another one of our guests on the show every Tuesday, is actually still a Giants season ticket holder, although he resides in Mexico as we speak. The Giants at home this year, they've seen 5 of their 6 home games go under the total with a combined average of 29 points scored per game. Now, they have a lot to do with that, because offensively at home, for whatever reason, well, they're not great on the road either, but they're absolutely anemic at home offensively. In their 6 home games, they've averaged 10.2 points per game and 259.3 yards per game. Speaking about a Jersey resident, Tommy DeVito, that whole love fest he had going on with the Giants fans has ended, as he's been benched. It'll be Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. And I like Tyrod Taylor much better than Tommy DeVito, but I'm not crazy about either of them, to be quite honest with you. And the Giants, they've actually been extremely respectable, at home defensively, where they've allowed a shade under 19 points per game and just under 280 yards per contest. So they're getting it done defensively. And when you look at, like what I said with the Browns, I like to look at the home and away splits, and the Browns are so dominant at home defensively, yet very mediocre to below average on the road. And that's the same case with the Giants. You look at their numbers, respectful, like I said, respectable numbers defensively at home, but on the road, a whole different story. So since 2021, 2022 started that season, the New York Giants are 13-2 to the under as a home underdog. So they've had an ample sample size of being a home underdog over the last 3 seasons, 15 times to be exact. They've went under 13 of those 15 games, combined average of just 35 points scored per contest. The Rams 8-3 to the under on the road during that same time frame since it started the 2021-2022 season. And they're 8-3 on the road, following an over in their previous game. And last week, they were a 30-22 home winner over the New Orleans Saints. That game went over the total of 45.5. So again, the Rams 8-3 to the under on the road, following an under in their previous game since 2021, 2022, with a combined average of 40 points per game. The Rams' run defense has allowed 87 yards or less in 5 of their last 6 games. And the only exception to that rule has been the game at Baltimore. And by the way, Baltimore is the best running team in football, so nothing to be ashamed of there. So they've been stopping the run and making teams play top heavy, meaning having to pass the majority of the time because they can't move the ball on them. The Giants' passing game, by the way, it's been anemic this year. They've had less than 200 yards passing in 12 of 15 games this year. We're not talking about a service academy. We're talking about the New York Giants in the NFL. Less than 200 yards passing in 12 of 15 games. Here's another stat, and I'll close it up here because I think everybody knows where I'm going with this. Sean McVay, since he's been the head coach of the Rams, is 10-1 to the under on the road when facing teams that have a win percentage of 250 to 400, which isn't very good. The New York Giants, as we speak, 5-10 to 333 win percentage. So they fall within that parameter. And 10 of 11 unders on the road against teams within that win percentage parameter. And those games average 38.1 points per game. Rams, Giants, under 43.5 for me. Jesse, any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, Tyrod Taylor at quarterback. You got a dome team playing outdoors in the winter. Yeah, they'll be lucky to score 30 points in this game. But I want to talk about going away from Tommy Cutlets so quickly. And I've seen this, not just the Giants, but Minnesota as well. Because yesterday on this show, I gave out the over in the Vikings-Packers. And the majority of the factors I was considering were based on Nick Mullins at quarterback. And, of course, I assumed that he was going to continue to play because he's thrown for over 700 yards and 4 touchdowns and 2 starts. But he's had some turnover problems, and they yank him, and they're going for Jaron Hall. So just for the record, I don't like that over nearly as much with Jaron Hall playing instead of
I don't like
Nick
that
Mullins.
move either, Jesse. You know, I
No,
don't
it's
like
terrible.
that move.
I mean, it's like you don't want – you don't
I got the
even –
over
I
there
think
too,
you got a
Jess.
much better chance. Much better chance of winning that game with Nick Mullins, even with the turnovers. I mean,
I agree.
But anyways, it seems to be a trend, though. You get these rookies in here. I know Ninja mentioned rookie quarterback. Well, we've seen a ton of rookies come in their first game or two, they play well, and then as soon as they have a bad game, they're out. You're gone. You're out of here. Throw another bum in behind you, and it just kind of boggles my mind because it doesn't seem like the right way to run a football team.
Yeah, I mean, again, we're getting off kilter here because we were talking about the Rams and the Giants, but I agree with Jesse. I think that is an astronomical mistake on the Vikings' part to go with Jaron Wilson, the kid out of BYU, with very little, if any, experience. And, this Nick Mullins, yes, he's thrown 6 interceptions in the last 2 games, but also he's thrown 4 touchdowns. And like Jesse said, a combined over 700 yards passing the last 2 games. And you can't discount the fact those numbers have allowed Minnesota a chance to win. Now
they're 6-4 in the conference. They're tied for the wild card right now. They're in what are they? What? I don't get it. What are they doing?
Yeah. I don't know, Sean. I don't agree with it. But in any event, the Giants and the Rams, Sean, any thought? The weather will be good in New York.
So I'm going to pull a Lee Corso and say, not so fast, my friends, because I like the over here. I got, you're as a Buffalo guy, you got to like I like Tyrod Taylor. I was like the guy. Yeah. Now, the numbers, I guess, lie. You see 20 touchdowns, 3,000 yards, 5 interceptions, 500 yards rushing, 5 more TDs. The guy generated 20, 25 touchdowns a year. You think it's pretty. Why isn't that? I mean, look at the guys who got quarterbacking now. You tell me you wouldn't take a sign up for a quarterback who get to 25 touchdowns a year and throw for 3,000 plus yards and runs for another 500, 600, 700 yards? I like the over because he's going to bring some offense to the game, and that changes things up a little bit for the Giants offense. And the Rams, Jesse, 100%. Dome team, outside, northeast, early start. Yeah, I said all that 2 weeks ago against the Ravens, and they should have beat the Ravens instead of catching a crazy overtime loss. I know. Stats Padford, my guy. Matt, was it Pad Statsford? Matt Stat. Anyway, whoever. Yeah, like the Pad Stats Padford because he just totally runs up these kind of numbers. He's tearing it up right now. I mean, the guy's got. I don't want to lay whatever it is, 6. They're laying, what, 5.5, 6? I don't do that, but I like the
Five
over. Give me
and
the
a,
over.
they're at 5 or 5.5 right now.
Yeah.
All right,
He's
so
got
Sean
14
disagrees with me.
TDs, 1 pick in the last couple games.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they've definitely ramped it up offensively. You look at what they've done, and then, the kid at running back, Kyron Williams, I believe
Yeah.
his name is. He's been tearing it up, and it brings a whole
That
different
wide
element to
receiver,
their offense. Yeah.
Yakua, whatever. He's going to break every rookie receiving record.
Yeah. Yeah. Who saw that?
And last
coming?
one for you, McVay in December, 18-4-1 run, 82%.
Yeah.
He's on an 82% run in December. ATS, by the way. That's ATS.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And that should, you would think that would favor the Rams, but every time you think the Giants are going to get lambasted, they come up with an effort and they give you a little bit of hope as a Giants fan, and then they lay an egg the following week. So in any event, our official pick from me is the Rams and the Giants to go under 43.5. Sean disagrees with that pick. You heard Jesse's thoughts on that, and I could tell you this will not be one of my premium picks for the week. And quite frankly, people,
should it be yours?
I assigned the game because it's the Giants in the Rams, and it's New York and Los Angeles, and as much as we're pros at what we do, we still have to.
You assign a game because people want to bet on every single NFL game. There's a handful they want action on every one, so that's why every game's covered for you degenerates out there. You want to bet it, you sickos? Go for it.
I got a question for you guys, if you guys don't mind. When they announced that Tommy Cutlets was going to start before he got in there and before his first start, can you tell me that you expected him to be better or worse than he was in the time that he had as the starter for the New York Giants?
See, to me, Jesse, I saw this kid play at Syracuse for 3 years.
We all thought he was a bum, right?
I thought he was going to be worse.
Not that he was a bum. Okay, let me explain this correctly. He was a 4-star coming out of Jersey. He was highly touted. Mm-hmm. This kid was, highly recruited, highly touted. He went to Syracuse, and he did virtually nothing. Okay, then he goes to Illinois. And Illinois has a good year, but that was a year that Illinois was terrific defensively. He wasn't asked to do a lot. He wasn't asked to win games. He wasn't asked to come back and win a lot of games. So to answer your question, I think he may have fared a little better than what I thought in terms of how he kept the Giants competitive, but I don't think a lot had to do with him. Look at his numbers, Sean. When he started, they're very pedestrian numbers. They're nothing.
Is that also they kind of tone it down? You look at 64% completion. That's not terrible for a guy who's expected 8 touchdowns, 3 picks. Not bad. Yeah, no, but the yards aren't there because he's throwing underneath stuff. They're not right. It's a reduced playbook.
And that's Dable protecting him,
exactly. So you don't know what you have out of that guy. You don't know what you have out of him.
My point was,
I saw him in college. I saw the same things, Sean. You know what I mean? He did nothing.
But on the same token, Ross, how many guys you see come out of college that are supposed to be great NFL quarterbacks and they're trash?
Right, but you very seldom see a guy who did not look good in college. And we scratch our head as why he's getting this opportunity in NFL. Very few really shine in that particular situation. Now, Jordan Love, I remember his senior year at Utah State, and you do too, Sean. We mentioned it a few times. He threw 16 interceptions in his senior year, but at least we knew that Utah State team wasn't as good as the years past.
Before,
when he did have a better
all over again.
Yeah, well,
like Josh Allen, I'm just saying from standpoint of his stats. Everybody left, then Josh Allen's numbers were bad the second year than it was the first.
Jordan Love's numbers in college were much better than Josh Allen's over the long haul. Throw that 16 interception season away his senior year. If you look at his sophomore and junior years, he put up great numbers. So in any event, I'm
my
not.
Point, my point about DeVito was that I think we all agree that he performed better than we probably thought he would when he was thrown in there. I think so. You guys apparently think so as well. So if he performed better than we expected him to, why are you pulling him out now for Tyrod Taylor? And if you see how DeVito played and he exceeded our expectations, and if you think Tyrod Taylor is still the better option, then why wasn't Tyrod Taylor the first option? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Probably because
It's
they're
a
thinking
good
they can
point.
just
See,
probably
again,
thinking if we're going to lose, let's lose with a rookie. And if it's bad, it's bad. We move on from him. We get a better draft pick. Tyrod Taylor could win some games. He can win you some games. Let's be honest, guys. He's a solid.
you don't
Here's what
have
he
to,
is. He's a good
and
backup, questionable starter. Enough to get you through the hump. He's a good filling guy for 5 or 6 games. Keep you competitive. You might go 4-2 with him or 3-3. You know,
in my
you've seen him.
experience with
He wins
Brian.
games.
Okay. Yeah, he does. He does. The bottom line is, I mean, he got Buffalo to the playoffs as a starting quarterback back in 2017 when they had no business making the playoffs, and it was their first playoff appearance in how many years? 20 years, something like that. Something stupid, 19 years. But then they moved on from him very quickly. And the rap on Tyrod Taylor is he takes very few chances. He throws a nice deep ball when he's willing and able to do so, but he's got a habit of being kept in check down. Secondly, he's easier to defend for defenses because he's a smallish type quarterback in terms of height, and he has a lot of difficulty finding guys in the middle of the field as a result. So defenses are able to take away 33% of the field when they defend him because they know there's very little probability he's going to try to stretch you down the middle or come down the middle. So that's the rap on him. In terms of why they made that move, I think, again, just opinion, Jesse. I don't know this for a fact, but my experience with Brian Dable, and Sean, you could chime in on that as well. I think a lot had to do with the fact that, okay, we went with this kid. We've been winning with the kid. We'll give him one more week. And Dable was limited in what he could do with Tommy DeVito as compared to what he could do with Tyrod Taylor, just based on experience. And look, Tommy DeVito had an ample sample size. He had an excellent opportunity, but he did not show the ability to make the Giants a better offense than whoever was in there before, in my opinion. You look at his numbers, I think numbers don't lie and liars don't figure. And you look at Tommy DeVito's numbers, it was a nice story. That's what I would say. But go ahead, gents, if you want to chime in on that. We'll move on to questions.
It's just a trend that I see developing. You saw it with Josh Dobbs and Nick Mullins and a few other guys. They come in, they have a couple good games, and as soon as they have one bad game, you yank them out and stick a third stringer in there. And I just thought that if they wanted Tyrod Taylor in there, why didn't he go in directly instead of bringing in DeVito? And
well, I think that Tyrod Taylor was only healthy for 1 week that DeVito actually started, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, because he was on the injury. The only reason DeVito got the chance in the first place was Tyrod Taylor was injured. That's the only reason he got the chance, you know. So again, Jesse, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just using my experience, and sometimes we base a lot of our opinions on our experiences, which our experience exceeds many others out there, and our know-how exceeds many others out there, regardless of what some people might comment on. In any event, let's take a look at Ninja. How are you, my friend? When will there be a college basketball segment? Good question. I mean, we have done a couple college basketball segments already, but with the bowl season coming up, we covered just about every bowl game that was really significant and worth talking about. And then with that and the combination of the NFL and the importance of the NFL in the final 2 weeks of the regular season with all the playoff implications, that's why we've been going strictly football over the last couple weeks. But you'll see at the end of the NFL regular season, which will coincide with the end of the college football bowl season, you're going to have more than your share of college. And matter of fact, we all talked about this. You're going to see much more, if not the majority of our podcast, be college basketball instead of the NBA. So good question, though. Bengals +7 is the play. We covered that already. And I agree with Ninja. Sean and Jesse don't agree. All right. They are a must-win reason. They are a must-win for a reason.
That's Kansas City. He was saying we're talking about Kansas City. I said they're must-win. He said they stink. We went into that. We did that.
To me, Cincinnati's more in a must-win than Kansas City. Kansas City's going to win the division by default. Okay.
Just as a team that you got your quarterback yelling at guys, where it's not that it's slipping away, but they got to get their house in order.
Can we all agree that Cincinnati is the team that has more on the line here in terms of the playoffs? I mean, it's a pretty much a no-brainer. They're 8-7. They lose this game, they can kiss their playoff hopes goodbye. So, based on desperation and urgency, and Jesse, we talked about backup quarterbacks. Jake Browning, we say guys look good for a couple of weeks, but the kid is putting up numbers, though, as opposed to a Tommy DeVito. Jake Browning got his opportunity and shown the ability and the willingness to throw the ball down the field, not play it safe all the time, not take the check down every time, try to squeeze him in once in a while and trust in his arm. Again, your thoughts, Jesse, in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, a tough spot at Pittsburgh last week, and then it's going to be another tough spot at Kansas City. Like I said, the guy that Kansas City was facing last week threw for 62 yards. So it's a tough spot. And it seems like the trend that I see developing is when you got a backup coming in for his first game or his second game, and the betting markets don't like him, that's the time to bet on them. And then when the betting markets adjust and say, hey, wait a minute, this guy's good, that's the time to start going against him.
Yeah, see, to me, when it's a guy coming in that you're not familiar with or don't have a sample size on, I'm going to stay away from the game, because the other team, in most instances, Sean, is going to be overvalued as a result. But I'm also not willing to say, I think he's going to have a great debut. I think he had a great debut. I think he's going to come back with another one. Okay. So the thing I would say about Browning, I mean, Jesse, here's a question for you. Who would you rather have at quarterback for your team if your starter is out? Nick Mullins, Jake Browning, or Tommy DeVito? I would say the first two would be my choices over a Tommy DeVito. Yours?
Oh, definitely. And I would probably it might surprise you that I would probably go with Mullins, just because we've only seen a couple starts for Browning. We've seen Mullins for 3-4 years now. And like I say, if a guy throws for 350 yards a game and he turns the ball over a few times, oh, well, there's a lot of backup quarterbacks that can't throw for 350 yards a game. So, which Mullins has been doing.
As long as we're talking about quarterback switches, how about Sam Howell out of Washington, and you got Jacoby Brissett coming in? Yeah, and that's a spot. Where was this last year? Rivera drafts a guy, and this is my point of bad teams drafting quarterbacks, where it's first round, second round, third round. You draft a guy, you think he might be something. You sit him on the bench. Last year, they played him like 2 games with Heineke, right? He sits and plays in the air. This year, you're going nowhere. You're taking him out with 2 weeks left in the season. Why?
Yeah, I mean, it makes no sense.
Tyrod Taylor,
now, if you
hasn't started, it's
you know what you got with Jacoby Brissett, right?
Yes.
Obviously, you went with Sam Howell because Jacoby Brissett is not a franchise type of quarterback, and I can understand even with them being out of it mathematically, and realistically they've been out of it for a while. If you had a younger quarterback, somebody you drafted in the 4th or 5th round, even a free agent off the street that has shown something in practice, I would almost get that reasoning, because Howell's struggling a little bit, let him sit. But to pull him at this point and tamper with his confidence and bringing in a guy that it's basically he's a very good backup, Jacoby Brissett, but he's not going to carry it to the promised land. And he's sort of a vagabond, you know.
I'll tell you what, he's on Cincinnati. The Bengals are going to the playoffs. He's a guy who's won games. Yeah, you put Tyrod Taylor on that team as a good, solid backup who's the team. That your players would respect it. Like, all right, this guy knows what he's doing, as opposed to here comes a guy. And again, it's tough. It sounds like we're knocking players that will never be on their level.
No,
you know, but it's your
it's our job to analyze, though. You know,
the drop we've talked about all year. It's you have these guys, and then it's down here, and then you have some guys, and then a couple, and then it's this total nightmare drop offs. It's terrible, and that's a big upgrade. Him on Cincinnati instead of Browning. You're like, Bengals could win out the season here, and Kansas City might be looking at a 500 season. But you got
all right, John
Jake
Putnam.
Browning.
I know Illinois had a great defense, but couldn't get any production on offense. If they could, they might have had a shot to make the playoff that year, and that goes hand in hand with what I'm trying to say.
That was the COVID year, wasn't it?
Yeah, Pounded Sports Betting and Sports Cards. Thank you for chiming in again, sir. DeVito is trash. Taylor, you got a better chance. That's what it's all about. Okay, when you ask me the question, Jesse. It's about
having a quarterback. And I wasn't necessarily disagreeing with this. I wasn't trying to make a case for DeVito being better than Taylor. I was only making a case for DeVito was better than I thought he would. I thought he was going to be really terrible, and he was above really terrible. And he had his little run, and I think the hook came a little quick.
I don't agree. Again,
but what? Ross, though, here's the thing: if they're playing to win, 6 games? Let's get a worse
that's what I'm
pick.
saying.
What are they playing for?
Bottom line, guys. Listen, just my opinion, okay? And let me clarify. So we
know what opinions are like, Ross. All right.
Yeah, I know, especially mine, right? In any event, the bottom line is they had a sample size with DeVito. He's an undrafted quarterback. He's not somebody you spent draft capital on, okay? Yep. He's an undrafted quarterback, and from what you see, is he going to be any better than a number 2 or number 3 quarterback down the line? Is he going to be a potential starter that's going to get the franchise to the playoffs? I think it doesn't take a brain surgeon. I don't have to be Brian Dable to look at the tape and know the answer is no, you know? And you also got a guy who's been on the hot seat this year because of the success the Giants had last year and where they are this year, and meaning Dable. So he chose, and he's had experience with Taylor in the past. Okay. I think Dable came in the year after 2018 in Buffalo. Tyrod Taylor might have been there then. I don't remember. But again, at the end of the day, I'm not a Tommy DeVito guy. I think he was a nice story. He's a good kid. But, all right, Clemson 38-35 over Kentucky final. Wow. The Tigers came back in that game.
And 28-point fourth quarter.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was it? I know that they were down 24-14 at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. It was 21-10 to start the third because the guy ran back the opening kickoff for the second half. So it was 21-10 into the fourth quarter. They scored a second into the fourth quarter, and then it was off to the races. They took a lead in that game, 27-21, and end up winning in the last second. Crazy.
Yeah.
Bowl season, baby.
Kentucky,
it's fantastic.
Though, correct? I think Kentucky covered, was plus 3.5, plus 4. But I was thinking about the under in that game, but then the number came down so low, it took all the value away. And I'm certainly glad I stayed away from that one. Hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks, Ninja. We'll do that later. Bengals plus 7 is a play. Jamar Chase might play. Bengals, all those weapons versus fraud. Chiefs. I could tell you right now, there's some legitimacy to that comment, but one thing I'll tell you is not a fraud is the Kansas City defense.
And Anthony knows this because I've had this conversation multiple times. We've talked. The Kansas City defense is a solid defense, and now they're going against a rookie. Are they Steeler defense? All I know is that Browning against the Steelers looks like an absolute deer in headlights. Kansas City
I don't-
defense
I mean,
minimizes
how
every
many
offensive
yards?
player on it.
Well, let me ask you a question, Sean. How many yards did Browning have passing
Last
in
week?
that game, in that loss against the Steelers?
I have no. Hold on. 34-11. He had 335 yards passing.
Yeah, he was terrible.
3 interceptions. 3 interceptions, though. So
But
he's
still,
just getting chunk yards.
well, the bottom line is 3 interceptions. How many of those interceptions when they had to become one-dimensional because they fell behind so much? I don't think he was the problem more than Cincinnati's defense. You look at. Let's look at his
86. They started the game with an 86-yard touchdown. Pittsburgh did.
What's his numbers over the last 4 games? Again, I always depend on you to rack this up real quick, and I appreciate
he had 324 against Minnesota in overtime, 275 against the Colts, 354 versus the Jags in OT, and his first game, full game, because he had the Baltimore mop-up duty, 227 versus Pittsburgh. They lost 16-10.
Right.
Touchdown and interception. Again, he throws picks. 3 last week, 1 week before, 1 week before that. He airs it up. So you have a shot because the guy throws it in the air.
He's
but
not DeVito, who's going to just keep throwing 7 and 8 yard outs and check it down to the running back. I like Jake Browning as a backup quarterback. I think he gives you an opportunity to win much more than the majority of backup quarterbacks in the NFL, from what I've seen so far. Now we're talking 5 starts now, Sean, or 4?
5 starts. He's got 2 He's got 2 overtime wins. And he's got the 2 games versus Pitt where they lost 16-10 and 34-11.
Right.
That's why I'm saying that Kansas City has a comparable defense to Pittsburgh. People might not think. People still think Kansas City is an offensive juggernaut scoring 38 points a game. They scored 21 points a game.
The key will be here is if they fall behind multiple scores against Kansas City, which could happen. But the way Kansas City's offense has been playing, I don't know.
Distance.
If they're within striking distance where he could play within himself, I like Brownie and the Bengals' chances in this game, with or without Jamar Chase. Now, if they get Chase back, hey guys, laugh. Okay, Mar, there you go. I know Mar's one of the guys who enjoys our humor. Throughout
you're
the
getting
show.
6.5, 7 with Cincy. The back door is going to be there. It's just that simple because Kansas City doesn't run away from teams. So
DeVito will be making pizzas within the next couple of years. He has his nice little run and media ran with it, pump him up. At the end of the day, he was a one-timer. I agree, Pound It.
Yes.
Bottom line is when you get an Italian quarterback in New York, if he has the least
he should be in Playgirl like Joe Namath in there with a little. He should be wearing. He should be coming to game like a full length mink coat.
Yeah, you don't think his Italian heritage and all the mafia type agent look that his agent had and the family, the family and all that kind of stuff that they kept showing in the crowd. It's alluring. It's PR. It's
the only reason we want to watch Giants games these days.
That's a nice little tailgate, though.
Yeah,
it's gonna sell more tickets than Tyrod Taylor. I'll tell you that much.
Well, absolutely, but at the end of the day, it's about who gives you the better chance to win. And again,
but like Sean said, win 6 games?
Yeah, but here's
the thing, though. That's like Ross brought up. If Tyrod he was hurt, otherwise it would have been Taylor anyway. But
that does make sense.
Can you honestly say, Jesse, he's an undrafted quarterback? Keep that in mind, number one. That doesn't mean he shouldn't. He won't have an opportunity to win the starting job. And if he showed his wares, he would still be the quarterback. Kurt Warner was he did pretty good, and he didn't get drafted. He was working in a grocery store at one time when they called him to play in the Arena League. So my point being is when you take a look at a guy like DeVito, Jesse, can you honestly say, just from our observations, not from a coaching standpoint, not from us knowing the schematics of the team or anything, that this guy is a potential starter and somebody you can hang your hat on going forward?
I was surprised he got a shot in the first place. I mean, I saw him play at Syracuse and at Illinois, and I never saw anything that would lead me to believe that he was NFL caliber at all. And he was a lot better than I thought he would be. But it makes sense that Tyrod Taylor was injured. I wasn't aware of that. I thought they actually made the conscious choice to elevate him ahead of Taylor and give him the reins. And I guess
Now,
I
when
was
you
wrong
say it
about
was
that.
a lot better than what we thought he would be, let me give my side to that. I would say it wasn't a total disaster like I thought it would be. Okay, he held his own, but holding your own in the NFL. The other thing, Sean, too, when you're a head coach in New York, a manager of the Yankees, a manager of the Mets, the head coach of the Giants and Jets, you're under a lot of scrutiny with the media like no other market in this
I think
great
listen,
country that we live in.
they had a nice year last year. And I said all the time, like, wow, he came in, changed Daniel Jones, stopped him making turnovers. Like I said at the beginning of the year, Josh Allen started making stupid turnovers, fumbling, running, interceptions.
Yep.
And
Playing hero ball.
I said straight up, that's the coach right there. He got hurt. They started out bad. It went off the rails early. They scored a couple nice wins here. I don't know if the guy's he's on the hot seat because the franchise is into Daniel Jones for 152, whatever the contract is. They got a problem on their hands because that guy's never going to be good again. Whatever his neck injury is, they said he might not even play again when he first got hurt. So he's got other problems. This season was a lost cause. You lose a starting quarterback. I don't care what team you are. Very rarely you're going on Super Bowl runs. This isn't the '90 Giants with who was the backup there? It was Phil Simms and
Jeff Hostetler.
I was going to say Ken Hostetler. It was Jeff Hostetler. Like that
Jeff
rarely
Hostetler.
happens.
He played in the Super Bowl and won.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of that had to do with the running game more than Hostetler. But
how about
in
a
any
defense?
event,
They have a
it's
defense.
still, I mean, that's a guy that in a pinch you could depend on, and you don't have to cut the playbook in half.
Yes.
To fit his talents or lack thereof. Let's leave that topic alone. Clemson scored a TD with 30 seconds to go, not a field goal to end it. So thanks for that. Thinking Rams -5.5 this week. Really like that. Tyrod Taylor back up. Really, he will probably get hurt by the first half. I think the Rams lay it. Also the Jags to maybe cover. Thoughts? I have no confidence in the Jags right now. I would be hesitant to lay that number right now with the uncertainty of Trevor Lawrence's health status. But guys, I'll let you chime in on that one.
It's not just Lawrence. I think there's 4 or 5 starters, 4 or 5 key guys on that offense that might not play this week. So if they're not healthy, I can't.
This line was 9. It's 5.5. It was 9. It's 5.5. The choke job is in a 4 straight losses. These guys are in a free fall. And Carolina, they're playing with house money. They have no draft pick. The Bears are sitting on that. So they had a near miss. They had a win. A couple of their games they've been kind of fighting with. So the defense is going to show up against whoever Jacksonville's going to play. How do you have faith in Jacksonville to win here? They don't cover spreads.
I don't take any team seriously that lose. To think that they're a legitimate Super Bowl contender or to make a deep run in the playoffs if they lose any game by double digits in December. That's usually a bad sign, folks. So that's just me. And we all have our different thoughts in that regard. I'm 100% Sicilian. His agent out front was it was a disgrace to my Italian heritage. I'm Italian as well, my friend. I think
I'm colorblind. I got to tell you, he looked like a leprechaun to me.
Yeah, again, it's all PR.
It looked like a green outfit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a PR, and I mean, as a matter of fact, they got rid of him for that reason alone. I mean, I think somebody who's wiser than us told him, "Hey, this he's looking like a clown. He's making you look like a clown." But again,
flop like a fish. The problem, he made himself look like a clown. As an Italian, you go on TV and say, "Hey, use some Rouse sauce." Really? Use Rouse sauce?
Mars says took the Warriors on Christmas Day. Jokic flopped like a fish the whole game. Yeah, the Warriors. I don't know.
Didn't the Warriors still get the cover in that one though? Yeah, I think they lost by 6 as a 6.5 point dog.
I don't recall. I know I had them last night, and they failed miserably for me.
Yeah, that was
I
my
started
one-
a mini
one-
riot last
one
night on the
loss
show.
as well.
I said Steph Curry's not a Hall of Famer. People went crazy.
Why would you say that, Sean?
No, why
Yeah.
not? I like to stir the pot a little bit. I was getting out my big
Yeah.
spoon, my wooden spoon. I was had the puree tomato sauce in. I was stirring the pot. And Steph Curry's not as good a shooter as Draza Petrovic.
All you got to do is cruise around to elementary school and see all the 10-year-olds
Curry's-
thinking they're
Steph
all
Curry.
When you
want to be
make
Steph
comments
Curry.
like that, buddy, you're not stirring the pot. You're smoking the pot. Anyway, Sean, you learn a few things from Ross. Haha. Yeah, we learn things from each other. And yeah, we like to humor each other. So Sean keeps me in line. I keep Sean in line. And Jesse, he keeps us sane. Let's put it that way. So any other questions or comments, folks? It's we're going on close to an hour right now. If you have any questions or comments, chime right in. But while we have a break here, why don't we ask Jesse why these folks out there should spend their hard-earned money with Jesse Schule this upcoming weekend over at and beyond over at our website, gamblersworld.net.
Well, you asked me the same question yesterday, Ross, and I was telling you about a 9-1 college basketball run with my college basketball sides plays. I hit another one last night, so that makes it 10-1 with my last 11 college basketball sides. And I also was bragging about my top plays, 71% with top plays since the summer. Hit two more of those last night. I had that college basketball play and the Cleveland Browns. I got them at -5.5, and that was an easy winner. And what do I think of hockey for today? I passed on the hockey card, Mar. I was looking at the Washington Capitals. I like they've got a hot goaltender, the Washington Capitals do, and I bet on them about 3 or 4 days ago, and they benched the hot guy and put the weaker of the two goalies in the net, and they lost that game for me. So I was a little bit upset about that. So I passed on hockey today.
All right, so there you have it, Jesse Schule. He's giving you plenty of reasons why you should spend your hard-earned money with him to make money. And again, like all of us, you spend a little bit to make a lot. That's what I like to say. And our track record is proven. For those of you out there in the comments section who fail to join us here on these live shows, but have really texting big muscles when you make your comments on our archive, we suck, we're clueless, etc., etc.
SEC homers.
SEC homers, Ross stick to comedy instead of giving out picks. You don't know what you're talking about. Sean doesn't know what he's talking about. We pronounced the name wrong. At the end of the day, this is a sports betting show, okay? This is not ESPN Sports Center, and we don't pretend to be. This is not the Paul Feinbaum show for you SEC lovers out there. We can care less if you pronounce the name Smith or Jones, okay? As long as you know who we're talking about. And at the end of the day, all of you who says, I won yesterday with such and such. I hit a 16 parlor yet. See, the difference with us, folks, is we put it out there for the whole world to see, okay? So every day, our picks are monitored. There's no, this is what I did yesterday, and how could I find out that you're 22-2 like you claim you are? We don't get monitored by because I told you so.com. We're monitored by several credible and independent sites across the internet. So, and if you haven't been with us for a long time, on the opposite side of the spectrum, if you have, we're as transparent as they come. I went 0 for 4 yesterday. I've been bragging about how good I've been over the last 5 months. I had a bad day. I can tell you what, I'm coming back like a banshee today. Anyway, Sean, somebody who would want to reach in their pocket for Mr. Higgs and his volume of plays that he puts out and does very well with. what could they expect over the course of the weekend or going forward with college basketball and the NBA with football winding down?
Well, college hoops winning day yesterday, 2-1. Loser by I think a half point in my one game. So I'm right there with college basketball. I got a losing record. It'll be all right. NBA, I think I'm number 3 on the Gamblers World site. Same with hockey, we're up there. College football bowl games on a 7-2 run. I think I'm towards the top there. NFL again, nice season hit with Cleveland. I'm locked in with. Well, I got Notre Dame under right now. I'll tell you. How about this one? Talk about good numbers, bad numbers, bowl games, Jesse. Missouri, I got Missouri minus 120 plus 115 and minus 2, and they're a 6-point dog. I'm not worried about that though because I still got a team that's kind of excited to beat it. I don't know. We'll see how Ohio State plays. But
what's the score to Notre Dame game? What's the score to
Notre? So
Notre
14-0 earlier. I don't know. I'm under. I got the under 44 there. So hopefully another winner going there. So
yeah,
I'll plays up.
That's a great number. It was 40 today. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we did when we were doing the show. I think it was 42 the other day because I said I was on it already. And yeah, whatever. We got the leaderboards. I win. I lose. We all do. It is what it is, folks. I don't know. You come in. Let's just start by just hitting the like button, leaving a comment like with you agree or disagree. We'll start small. We're not, just the easy stuff for you to do doesn't cost you anything. Comment, be part of the show, and then you'll see how we are, and then you make your own decisions of who you like, don't like, think we're wackos. It's all good. Yes, I loved it. Duquesne in Arkansas. No one likes Duquesne when you say Duquesne. I don't know. It's Duquesne.
He's referring to Duquesne, by the way.
Yes, Duquesne. Well, you have to say it down the road because people will think you're serious.
John, I can tell you that I took the Cardinals. We rate our plays 1 or 2 points in this Wise Guy contest. We get 2 3-point plays throughout the course of the contest, which spans over 18 weeks. And I took the Cardinals as my 1-point play. I took the Bengals as my 2-point play. I got the Cardinals at plus 12.5. That was the line on Monday that they gave me. I got the Bengals at plus 8.5. Now, whether that helps you or not, and no, I probably am not going to use this as part of my premium card. Why? Because I like using underdogs that have a realistic opportunity to win. But it was just a favorable number for me at the time because by time I looked at the line the next day, they were down to 10.5. If you want to give me 12.5, more times than not in a contest format like that, I am going to take that favorable number. So if that answers your question.
Philly lets teams hang around, though, John. They let them hang around teams. Philly hasn't been knocking people out. If you want to take 10, 11, 12, whatever it is, I wouldn't say no to that.
Brissett, Taylor, Stidham give their teams a better chance than the guys they are replacing. It's a total different circumstance. Taylor is replacing the guy that was not drafted. Brissett is replacing a guy that they drafted high and had been starting all year, and it's extremely young. Howell is a guy you would hope when you drafted him that high would become a franchise quarterback. That's not the case with DeVito. Stidham, on the other hand, I mean, the Raiders quarterback situation, that doesn't fall in either.
Stidham's with Denver now.
That's the Russell Wilson benching, and even if you're high on Stidham and you like Stidham and you want to say it gives him a better chance of winning, fine. But the way they handled that, apparently they told him, they didn't just tell him this week, they told him right after they beat the Chiefs 2 weeks ago, they said, we're going to bench you for this, for financial reasons or whatever. And so if this is a rumor that's going around, I believe it's, from credible sources that they told him right after they beat the Chiefs. And then you look at his performances in the 2 games since, and you have to wonder if the two things are correlated, right? They've told him they're going to bench him, and he comes out and stinks the last 2 weeks. And if Stidham was the better man for the job, then I don't like the time. Yeah, exactly. Why wait 2 weeks? Exactly.
Hey, remember, that's Sean Payton, not Sean Higgs. Sean Payton. He's had a lot of success in the league. He's we all know too. And again, I'm just basing it on what I've heard, read, and see outwardly with his actions on the field. Could be a little bit on the arrogant side. And Russell Wilson wasn't his guy. Russell Wilson arrived before Sean Payton got there. These
Russell Wilson didn't give up 70 points either on defense in a game.
Yeah.
He also didn't call an onside kick in a game that you end up losing to the Raiders. You should have won.
Right, right. And my point being, Sean, is right along what you're saying, is you can't tell me that some of that decision had to do with the fact that he's not his guy. The blow-ups they had on the sideline, not once, but a few times. This is in Sean Payton's mind, has told management in the front office that this is not the guy I want going forward. Now, having said that, Pete Carroll, as good a head coach as he is and as enthusiastic as he is, guys, he made the decision to move on from Russell Wilson for similar things because Russell Wilson, Carroll likes to run the ball primarily. He believes a potent running game and a good defense.
When the Super Bowl's on the line.
Yeah, exactly. So, but again,
never
who
in
was the
doubt,
quarterback?
Easy winner.
Who was the quarterback who threw that interception? Anyway, Steve Wilson, what is the difference between 2 units and 4 units? Well, Steve, what I could tell you is it works with money management. So we like to use and we grade our plays on $100 per unit, Steve. So if Sean gives you a 2-unit play, he's suggesting you play 200 on the game. If Jesse gives you a 4-unit play, he's suggesting you play 400 on the game. Now, I don't want to scare anybody away. That's just a hypothetical figure. Whatever you're comfortable with. I don't care if it's $10 per unit. Okay. Yeah. We just ask you follow that money management system. And that's our ticket to making you money. Okay. So
and even on the site, if it says 2, play it as 1. You don't have to play it as 2. Just play it as 1 for yourself. You don't have to, play it towards your bankroll.
Yeah.
So
for me personally,
it's really a 2,
sometimes a 2-unit play might just reflect that I wasn't happy with the line I was getting. I still like the play, but if I was getting a more favorable line, it would be a 4-unit play. Sometimes that's the reason for it being a 2-unit play.
Yeah, Ohio State under 50 and -5. I'm on board with you on the under 50. Sean and Jesse.
I got Missouri, like Sean said. I tried to get in early and get a good line and laid 120 on the money line, and that was just at sports capping. And now at all other sites, I took the money line. I got plus 175, plus 180 at a bunch of other sites.
I know everybody's obviously coming to play on the offensive side of the ball, right? Harrison's going to play, whoever. You're still got a quarterback who's never thrown a pass this sophomore. Has he thrown a pass?
He's in limited mop-up duty and such. I think he played in 3 games this year.
But again, what does that mean? I saw the guy replace Caleb Williams, the best player ever coming out of USC as a quarterback, throws for 6 touchdown passes.
Kid threw for 6 touchdown passes, right?
So who the heck
you
knows?
Got to remember.
Also, we saw Jackson Arnold come in for Oklahoma and throw 2 picks in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then put together a pretty decent effort after that. So the bottom line is you remember when we're talking about Power 5 conference teams that have strong recruiting classes after strong recruiting classes after strong recruiting classes, when that happens, they develop a lot of depth, and especially at the quarterback position. Why do you think you see so many quarterbacks that move on and go into the transfer portal? It's quite simple, because they were a 4-star or 3-star, and they were promised playing time and they didn't get it, and they figured they could do something somewhere else. Anyway, all right, guys, we got to wind it down here. We'll take a couple more questions, and then that will be it. Questions and comments. Steve Wilson, okay, thanks. Little Bo, who doesn't succeed under Riley? Yeah, true.
The defense doesn't succeed under
That was on the tip of my tongue, Sean.
Yeah, so I think he was referring to the offensive side of the ball, and Clint also chimed in the defense.
Yeah.
All right, boys. You could find me also at gamblersworld.net, #1 overall since the site started in mid-July in 2023. Coming off a bad night, but still, since August the 4th, I'm hitting 58% of my picks. Dying players over that course of time have made over 45 grand. So a lot of good things from all three of us and the other 7 handicappers at the site. Don't forget, we guarantee all our picks. If you don't win, you don't make a profit, we will credit back your account the exact amount of your purchase price. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please take a second to do so. You're watching because you're interested in sports betting. You're watching because you think we do a good job on the show, and we appreciate that. All you need to do is hit that black subscribe button right underneath the video box. Unless you're on your PC, it's a WC logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your video box. Click on that. It'll serve the same purpose. 100% free to do so. And if you have subscribed, we appreciate all of you who have out there. And if you're new to the channel and you just subscribed today or in the last couple of days, do yourself a favor and go into your YouTube settings and click on the alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel. And you'll be notified immediately upon any of our 6 podcasts weekly going up on our great channel. We'll be back on Monday with more sports betting talk. Jesse and Sean will be back with me on Tuesday. And Doug Upstone, she'll be back with us next Thursday. So glad to get Doug back on the horse. He's been going through some health issues. Talked to him yesterday. Wanted to thank everybody for their well wishes. And he's doing a lot better this week than he was last week, but he still has a road ahead. In any event, for Jesse Schule, Sean Higgs, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.
See you next year.
Yeah.